this is the first time you guys are seeing. Well, no one's real. I don't know if I actually don't know if anyone else is watching who doesn't know me. But if it does, like I'm hoping, let's just say, in like a year or so, or not a year, probably like 3 years or so, I'll look back. Hopefully, if I'm still doing this, and I'll be like, oh my god, I remember when I first was like had like these people and these people I all knew. Now I have 14 people. Wow, these 3 years paid off. Wow. So like, or it could be thousands. It could be who knows? Anything could happen. I always heard that you got to just believe it and you just got to keep going. It's kind of like if you're working out and you're let's say you're either really fat or really skinny. Let's say you're really skinny and you're trying to get muscle and you're trying to just be a bodybuilder. You would look at being a bodybuilder and you'd be like, I'm never gonna be a bodybuilder. I mean, like what? Like, look at them. They're someone completely different. But really, if you think about it, it's not that different. It really isn't. Because when you start working on it, see, funny story, I don't look like it now. But I used to work out, and I remember it was like junior year. I started working out, and it was like it was actually the summer of sophomore year. Summer when sophomore year ended of high school. And I started working out, and I really got motivated. And people didn't really... I hope this microphone's good now. Wait, give me a second. Okay, I think this is good right now, how it is. Hopefully it's good. So, sophomore year, I worked out, and, like, no one really cared too much. It was kind of like, I'm going to start doing this. It was like a change in my attitude. I was like, if I start working out, this might actually, like, make me happier. I'm changing improving myself. And so I kept going and going, and you don't see results. When you first start working out, you don't get any results. You'll always just be tired, you'll be exhausted, but you're gonna look at yourself and go, it's not helping. Until you get to a certain point. And people don't even usually care. They'll go, oh, good job, keep going, whatever. But they won't really, they're being happy, but they're not really impressed. They get impressed after a while. And so, junior year, I joined the swim team, which I think I put in my first podcast. I joined the swim team. There, I started lifting even more and more, and I kept it up. And around around the middle of my swim team, around the end, people started to see changes. Now, I was on the swim team, and it was very, athletic, but it's not just that. They started looking at how much bigger I was getting, because that was my goal. My goal was to just try to get big and muscular and fit, and I started getting those changes, and people started to look at me, like my mom, my sister, my friends. Everyone was like, whoa, where is this Joey coming from? That Joey did not just come out now. That Joey was there when I first started working out. You just can't notice it until it starts to make a change. And I kept it up for junior year, all throughout. And then even after the swim team ended, I started lifting even more. I was so passionate. In the summer, I was still lifting a lot. And then senior year happened, I lifted even more. I had fresh fall, I was in the fall season because swimming is in the winter. So you have the first semester, and then you also have the second semester. I think it's exactly half and half. Yeah, I would say around half and half. And I was lifting and a lot and all that stuff, but then second semester of senior year, I had this weightlifting class. So I would literally be just like how I was before, 3 days a week, lifting in the morning for an hour. And then now added, I have 45-minute class, but getting ready and everything, 40 minutes of lifting in the class, plus you have the swimming twice, 2 hours every single day, 6 days a week. And it was exhausted, but I was so passionate. It was just moving me, and I was really into it. And I kept it up. The results were getting crazy, and people were like, wow, you're doing great. Only problem is, throughout the summer, I was still lifting and all that stuff. I started to lose a little bit of motivation because, at least for me, when you're in a school where it's a bunch of guys and we're all all my friends and you have a coach and everyone, it's just all testosterone. It's you're just so motivated to keep going and you're in the weight room all the time. Plus you're kind of forced to when you're on a team, so it builds you up. And then when you get to college, summer, I was working, and so since I was working, it started to take a little bit more time, and then I started doing other things, and then it started to go down a little bit, and then all of a sudden, I ended up deciding around the end. It was literally like maybe a week before school was going to start, before I was going to start college. I decided to do a max bench. So my max bench in the beginning, and it was like a max bench for a while, because people would ask, well, what's your max bench? And I'll be like, I don't really max. Like in our swim teams and stuff, we have a set. Well, we'll, let's say, do 3 sets of 10. You're not going to do max for that. I have a set that I was very strict on my schedule. You have a schedule this way. This is how I'm going to do it for a few months until I switch it up. And there was a time when I decided, let's do my max, and it was 245 plates on each side you bench, and that was 225. That's been my max for a long time. And then I was like, you know what? Let's increase it. And I did 215 or something, because I was at Planet Fitness, not the weight room. So in the Planet Fitness, in the summer, the weight's a little different. The bar is not 45, it's 25. So I put 245s on, but it wasn't 225, it was 205. So I decided, hey, let's just add a third 45 plate, and I made it 255. Why? I don't know. I just decided, hey, I can do 225 from before. I did 205. Let's do 255. And I went and I did it, and I could not lift it, and it went. I was like lifting, and I was pushing it, and then it just it went down, and I could not. It was like on my chest, and what's funny was that actually, it was a Smith machine too. Planet Fitness does not have free weights, so it's not like you can't take the weight off, which I'm not sure helps or doesn't help, because basically the thing with the Smith machine is that it stays. The bar is there itself, and you can't really shake it. So if I, let's say, was lifting as hard as I can from the right side only, it wouldn't tip over. It would keep going. So that kind of helps. That's why you don't need to use, I don't think you need to use the clamps, because they don't tip over, which is good. And plus you have those straps. So basically it's on like, there's a bunch of metal hooks, and you can like put it on the hook, and then when you take it off, you turn it. And then, so when I was doing it, I was trying to push, and the thing is that the hook right underneath was going in my neck, so it wasn't going to help. And the hook right on top was right on top, like was what I couldn't push up to. And I tried to keep going and going, and I finally did it, but I pulled my left shoulder, and that was an injury that I didn't realize how big of an injury that was. I kept working out afterwards. I kept going, and I was like, it was so dumb. I told them, I was like, I think I just pulled my shoulder. They're like, oh my God, are you in the hospital? No, I'm still working out. And they're like, what are you doing? And it was very dumb, but yeah. And I realized that shoulder issue prevented me from doing anything with the word push in it. I could not do push-ups. I could not do bench press. I could not. It was like this part of my shoulder. It's not the front lateral. It's somewhere in here. It's a bone, I think. It's a bone, I believe, because I don't know what happened basically, but it's a thing now that like. Even now. So that was like right before I was starting college. Now I'm a sophomore in college. And like even now, like if I'm benching, you can feel a little bit. So what happened was that really not motivated. I was already a little bit not as motivated, and now it's motivating me even less, especially since I started college. And I basically started to not lift as much. I started getting like a little leaner, and I started doing a little bit more cardio, but even that, not as much cardio as I was doing before. I just wasn't working out as much, and I started getting like smaller and smaller, and throughout the year, I just wasn't doing as much, and it's not good. So I'm trying right now to just go back to it and keep going and just get back into it, because it's like my mom told me this, and it really helped. My mom told me it doesn't matter if you fell, it matters if you get up and keep going. She probably said it a different way, but that's something I'm going to try to do.